This is Jesse Berst with SmartGridNews. We just heard from Forrest Small of Bridge Energy with an overview of integrating AMI and OMS. Now, in a moment, we're going to turn to some tactics, and you're going to hear from BC Hydro about some real-world lessons learned. But first, we want to get to a few of your questions. So first question is, I think, a fairly quick one, but just to clarify, can you view your AMI events on a map? And second, and I'll invite Ranjan Raja of BC Hydro to jump in as well if he's got something to add. But to start with you, Forrest, what's the role of an MDMS, of a meter data management system, in AMI OMS integration?
Well, I'll take a shot at that, and then I'm interested in Ranjan's thoughts. But I mean, I think it certainly can play a role. More often what we're seeing in the work that we're doing with clients involves the head-end system of AMI. So I think it would probably depend to some degree on the scale and what other types of integration capability you already have in your company, in particular what you might have done with regard to service-oriented architecture and things like that. But like I said, most of what we've seen is utilities actually trying to use the head-end system as that point of integration.
Yeah, maybe Forrest, I can pipe in there. On the first question around spatial representation, yes, that's kind of critical for our operations. Our existing OMS has that capability, but as well our smart metering group is looking at various tools to figure out how we can have broader context. We call it sort of operational insight into the landscape. So yeah, that's we have that right now. We're looking to improve that as we move forward. And then the second question around MDM, as Forrest said, our events and exceptions, et cetera, come from our head-end system. But we also use the meter data to identify potential future failures, meaning looking at voltage patterns, et cetera. We're working with our distribution group to provide that data and some preliminary analysis on potential failures given the voltages we're seeing at customer sites or aggregated up to transformer or substation level.
Thank you. Now, Blake wants a reminder about what ORM stands for, and I'm pretty sure it's Outage and Restoration Management. Did I get that right, Forrest?
That's exactly right.
So Ted wants to know, how does the OMS handle meters with intermittent communications? So a meter sends out outage detection and then it loses connectivity and doesn't report the restoration.
So that's actually a good example of the kind of functionality we were trying to create. And I don't want to steal Ranjan's thunder, so I'll let him talk about this as well. But essentially, we're trying to put back the intelligence into those messages that are pretty binary, frankly. And so a big part of what we did was think about those various use cases and how could the data that was coming off of the meters get interrupted or get out of sequence or anything else that would result in that outage message being more confusing actually to the operator than helpful. So in that way, we're probably trying to collect a lot of information from different meters, try to make some sense of it before we actually pass the outage message on to the operator.
Got it. Okay. And Atif and several others had some related questions here, and it's, is there other meter information to consider for OMS beyond just the kind of last gasp notification?
Absolutely, and I think that gets back to the point Ranjan was making. You know, there's a lot of information that's out there in these meter registers that we can use, and I think when, certainly as we worked with BC Hydro, we were using this piece of work as a first step on a much more robust roadmap of capability, pulling additional information off of meters and even bringing in data from other parts of the operations technology like SCADA or distribution management.
Terrific. So do you treat a meter's last gasp call differently than a customer calling in?
I think, and Ranjan, if you want to speak specifically to this, I mean, usually the answer is yes. I think over time, as utilities get more comfortable with the accuracy and the quality of these kind of messages, that may change. But Ranjan, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think Forrest is probably correct in that the long term, that's probably one of the objectives people strive for. For us, we're using it, at least to start, to augment the existing information streams we get. It's another information source to provide the key decision makers, whether that's dispatchers or others, with additional information to make this decision still in their hands around dispatch, et cetera.
James wants to know that, and he says, we're told that one of the benefits of integrating OMS with an MDMS is to filter out false positives and planned outages. and have you seen this in practice? Now, I know from reviewing your slides and our conversations that you do have something to say on that topic, but maybe Forrest or Ranjan, just a quick sneak preview.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I think when we started into this, the ones that everybody thinks about usually are momentary outages and false positives and things like that. But it turned out for us that one of the things we really had to look at was the basic, planned type outages, the things that are normal. How do we tell when an outage message comes from a problem versus an outage message comes from something that somebody expected but may not have told everyone else about? And so one of the nice parts about working with BC Hydro on this is we had the opportunity to leverage some great technology they have in their enterprise service bus and be able to do some nice analytics and tell whether something was probably a normal occurrence or probably a problem.
So this is from Tim. He wants to know, what cybersecurity protocols do you recommend for such systems? Do you have a reference document, for instance? And we've had similar questions about what are the cybersecurity implications when integrating AMI and OMS.
I think there certainly are some cybersecurity implications here, but for us as part of this project, those were not something that we included.
Okay, terrific. And Ranjan, any thoughts from your end?
No, I think obviously, with any technology project, we went through our internal privacy and security process work and documentation. If somebody has some specific questions, perhaps they can contact us directly and we can try and respond to those.
Terrific. And at the very end, ladies and gentlemen, we will include a final slide with our contact information should you want to reach out to any of us individually. Well, we've got some more great questions and we'll get back to them, but let's bring Ranjan Raja up now.